Basketball Association is no more. All right, that's, again, a little over the top, but they are no longer a functioning league until further notice, the NBA, with the acknowledgement that one NBA player named Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz had contracted the Wuhan coronavirus. I will tell you why I continue to say Wuhan coronavirus in a moment. But one player contracted it. They immediately canceled the game that his team was supposed to be in. And then, knowing that he has played games in the last few days against other teams, there is a chance that he may have, before he became symptomatic, have infected other people. And so the NBA took the extraordinary step, the drastic step, but maybe the reasonable step, and this is the difficulty of all of this, of saying the NBA's season is canceled, at least until further notice. Perhaps something will change, but right now the money line in the NBA's press release last night, the NBA is suspending gameplay following the conclusion of tonight's schedule of games until further notice. The NBA will use this hiatus to determine next steps for moving forward in regard to the coronavirus pandemic. So the NBA jumping right into the panic frenzy, again, maybe with good reason, maybe not. We will discuss. And it calls into question, well, let's follow that up with the national NCAA and their national basketball tournaments, conference tournaments, and the first and early rounds of the NCAA tournaments also announced they will be playing, but in empty arenas. Now, that, of course, may or may not give them a way to deal with the potential spread of this virus, which we'll again get into in much more depth. In the stands, among thousands of fans gathered together and being in close proximity within the 6-foot social circle that has been described as far as social distancing yourself from other people who may be symptomatic or may be carrying a virus but is not symptomatic. But what about, again, if one player on one team at one school of the hundreds and hundreds of NCAA schools that are still playing basketball, if one of them tests positive for the Wuhan coronavirus, does anybody think that the NCAA won't follow suit with what the NBA did and say everything is canceled? I can speak for this in the state of Ohio, and I'm focusing on the sports part right now at the top only because Hugh likes to mess with me and present fake news about my sports allegiances whenever we talk with one another. But here in the state of Ohio, colleges, and in other states too, of course, but I can only focus on the ones that are most directly impacting me, which are a lot of family and friends whose students are now coming home from Kent State, from Ohio State, from Baldwin Wallace, from John Carroll, from Ohio University. All these colleges are saying, at least through some point in April, depending upon the spring break calendar that they follow, classes in terms of face-to-face contact are going to be suspended. And they want everybody to learn online. The professors are going to present online lectures and so on and so forth. So all of these things, I can speak more specifically to Ohio. And back to the sports part, we're in state championship season. Tomorrow, my son's school's girls basketball team is in the state semifinals. They're going to be playing down in Canton. No, they're in Columbus. Beg pardon. They're in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm wondering if the game is going to go off. Because, again, if one student athlete on one team in an entire state is, comes down and is tested positive for this, I wonder if they're going to say, well, nice season, ladies or gentlemen who are in the regional finals now, and they're part of the state tournament. Sorry about all of the hard work that you put in, but there will not be a payoff. There will not be a reward. We are canceling the championships. Again, they're already asking them to play in front of nobody. You wonder what's going to happen. I don't think you wonder. I think they're all going to follow suit. I was talking to Generalissimo before we started the broadcast this early morning, and I thank you so much for joining us here in the ReliefFactor.com studios of AM 1420. That's my home base in Cleveland, Ohio, as Hugh mentioned. I was talking to the General. I don't know if the Major League Baseball season, do you think it's going to start 15 days from now? I believe opening day is March 27th. I know that's when my hometown Cleveland Indians start. They have a home game in late March, March 27th. Probably going to be snow on the ground. Still don't know what baseball is thinking about there, but the point is, do you really think that they're going to start? They're going to bring 40,000 people into, because usually home openers, right? Home openers are almost always sold out in most good baseball towns. And that is no different in Cleveland. When they have the home opener on the 27th, there's going to be 35, 40,000, whatever capacity is now at Progressive Field. You think they're going to bring them in to sit shoulder to shoulder and to pack in lines chest to back on the 27th, just 15 days from now? I don't think so. And that brings us to the word panic that we're going to have to discuss. Has the mainstream media successfully whipped the United States population, its business leaders, its executives, its decision makers, sufficiently into a panic, so much so that everything involving crowds will be canceled, everything involving groups of people in meeting rooms, board meetings, groups of people in restaurants, groups of people in shopping malls, that all of these things will be discouraged to the point where this wonderful, previously thriving American economy is ground to a halt. And upon whom will the blame for that rest? And to that, of course, we point to last night's Oval Office address. What are the left? What are the anti-Trumpers, the Orange Man bad leaders, if you will, thought leaders, maybe thoughtless leaders? What are they going to say about this? This is, of course, the responsibility of Donald Trump. Donald Trump addressed the nation last night from the Oval Office, announced the travel ban from Europe, announced the Small Business Association Guaranteed Loan Program, announced that a number of Americans and small business owners are going to be given an extension on their taxes. They don't have to pay their taxes by April 15th, so they can keep their money juiced into the economy. The president made a lot of very important announcements last night. I think a lot of very prudent steps with respect to the containment of the virus and an attempt to continue to, juice the economy with whatever it may need because of the panic that is going on right now. And the left immediately savaged everything he said. The travel ban from Europe for 30 days is xenophobic. It's anti-immigrant. It's anti-brown people. Apparently all the people in Europe are brown as far as we are hearing. They criticized the president's travel ban. They criticized the small business plan. They criticized the payroll tax holiday that he is recommending. They criticized just about everything they could because the one thing that they have wanted to do, enemies of the president, the Orange Man bad crowd, the one thing that they have wanted to do is find a way to hang this around his neck. They didn't like his performance. And look, if I'm being 100% honest, he did not project the most confidence I think I've ever heard him project when he was on the teleprompter last night. President Trump is a dynamic speaker when he is speaking from the heart and off of the cuff. When he is reading from his prompter, he is a little stilted. He is a little bit gaspy, meaning that he doesn't take breaths. Sometimes he kind of just keeps going and going and going and doesn't project confidence. I get that. But this is not the time for the left to be pointing out the president's faults and flaws. This is a time, if they care about the United States of America and dealing with this coronavirus and keeping the American people healthy, this is a time to pull together with the president, not score political points off of him. And that's why we're going to focus on the Wuhan coronavirus, which I will explain more again coming up. My name is Bob Frantz. It's 16 minutes after the hour. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. A lot of information to get to, and we want to hear from you as well on the Hugh Hewitts Show.